long ago, and it happened far away. The moral of the story has been lost until today. Although we shouldn't let the past complicate the now, we wrap a stack of artifacts that help us show us how. Whatnot hopes and soggy dreams become who I am today. I'm feeling more alive in more important ways. Lost all ability to think for myself. I put it on the table, then you help yourself. Wow. This place stinks of corruption. Shots fired confirm my assumption. Everyone is evil in their own special way. This advice I'm giving you today.
Hello everybody, Mr. Childers here, and I am thrilled to welcome you to Classical Studies Year 2. As I record this video, it is July 20th, and I haven't yet seen the roster for this year's classes, so I don't know exactly who's going to be with us in this class this year, though my expectation is that everybody in Classical Studies 2 will be someone who has taken Classical Studies 1 with me in the past, which means a lot of the hey, how you doing, nice to meet you stuff that we normally do on day one, we don't have to do because you already know what you're dealing with when you're working with me, and for some reason you just keep coming back for more and more punishment. The purpose of this video is to cover the things that we're going to go over on the first day of class. I'm doing this video ahead of time, doing it on my own, only because on the first day of school I don't want to have to worry about technology and taping and anything going wrong, so I figure if I have the video ready ahead of time, that's one less thing we have to hassle with on day one. The intended audience for this video are people who are signed up to be in Classical Studies 2 but aren't able to make it to school on the first day. Just as I have in my humanities class in Classical Studies 1, I do intend to keep a running YouTube playlist. In fact, we're continuing the Classical Studies 1 playlist from last year for the benefit of people who miss school or people who want to go back and review. Which means that if you're in my Classical Studies 2 course and you're going to be there on day one, or if it's a couple weeks in the future, you were there on day one, you're absolutely under no obligation to watch this video. You can leave right now. You're welcome to watch it, but my guess is you've already stopped. So let's talk a bit about what our new class is going to be all about. This is ACE Classical Studies 2. By now, you all know me, Mr. Jeff Childers. Be sure to make a note of my email address. It hasn't changed, jchilders1@fourcornerscharter.org. Always remember to include the 1 when you're emailing me, or you will get my brother and boss, Assistant Principal Joe Childers. I am 42 years old, from Joliet, Illinois, a 1997 graduate of Minooka High School in Illinois. I have a bachelor's degree in philosophy from Conception Seminary College in Missouri, a master's degree in theology from St. Meinrad Seminary in Indiana, and I've been here at Four Corners for since 2018, December 2018. In exchange for the 4.5 years of service, I received my 2-year pin yesterday from Charter School, or last year from Charter School USA. So that is that surely among my most treasured whatevers that I keep safely wherever. ACE Classical Studies 2, like all ACE courses, ACE is Advanced International Certificate of Education, is overseen by the University of Cambridge in England. Cambridge founded in the year 1209, so it's got a few years on our own Four Corners School. It is one of the leading universities of the world, an incredibly well-respected institution, and the ACE program is its international outreach to high school or secondary level students around the world. ACE courses come in two varieties. There are two levels. There is the AS level, which is Advanced Subsidiary, which is what students do when they're taking the first year of a course, at least the way we've got it organized here. And then year 2 is the A level or Advanced level. Classical Studies 2, the course you're in now, is an A-level course, and it is the very first A-level Cambridge ACE course to be offered here at Four Corners Upper School. So I'm especially happy to be launching this new phase of our educational program here at Four Corners, and I'm glad that you're all here with me. Since this is an A-level course and it's Classical Studies 2, everybody here has at least taken one ACE course prior to this, and many of you have probably taken many ACE courses. So it'll come as no surprise to you that the special selling point of an ACE course, including this one, is that it allows you to earn college credit even though you're still in high school. I want to talk to you for a minute about precisely how your Cambridge courses or your ACE courses translate into college credit. So, a typical college degree, a typical bachelor's degree, that's the 4-year degree. A typical bachelor's degree requires 120 credits to complete. You will see a little bit of variation on that number from school to school and from state to state, but very little variation. It needs to be kept relatively standardized so that if you hold up your bachelor's degree, hey, I've got a bachelor's degree, whether you're in Minnesota or New Mexico or Florida or Alaska, people know what you're talking about when you're holding it up. If one school offers bachelor's degree for, a 2-day program and 1 credit, and the other school requires 1 billion credits, well then the degree's not worth the paper that it's printed on. So generally speaking, an accredited bachelor's degree is going to require about 120 credits. Successful completion of an ACE Cambridge course like this one typically equates to 3 college credits per course. And successful completion of these courses means successfully passing the exam that's at the end of the course. So generally speaking, for every ACE exam that you pass, you get 3 college credits. Here in the state of Florida, legally requires universities to accept up to 45 ACE credits in transfer. And what that means is, if you've taken the maximum number of Cambridge ACE courses in high school and passed them, you're bringing 45 college credits with you on day 1 when you begin college, which means you could potentially begin your college education having already completed more than 1/3 of the requirements for graduation. That makes these courses a really great opportunity for those who enjoy them, for those who can handle them, and I'm confident that all of you can. Whether you take just this one and my other course, so you walk out with 6 college credits, or you take the whole run the whole gamut and do 45 college credits, or anything in between, every college credit you earn while you're at Four Corners is a savings of months of your time and thousands of your dollars. A college education isn't cheap. To walk in with with a large chunk of it already completed without you having had to pay for it or take loans for it or get grants for it or anything. It's a great opportunity. I wish they had something like that when I was in school. The math and science courses wouldn't have helped me much, but I could have racked up plenty of credits with the humanities stuff, the English, the history, this class, if I had been able to take it. So I hope you will look into that. If you're unsure, if you have more specific questions, speak to your guidance counselor here at Four Corners. All right. So what will we be doing in Classical Studies 2? First off, every student in this class will conduct 2 independent research projects during 2 quarters of your choice. So you can choose to do a project in first quarter and in fourth quarter, in second quarter and in third quarter, any combination of the 2 projects during 2 quarters of your choice. Topics are to be chosen from these 3 categories, all of which will sound familiar to you. Category 1, the classical world. Category 2, the ancient world outside Europe. Category 3, medieval literature rooted in orature. Those are the same categories we used in Classical Studies 1 for the research projects. It's just now everybody gets to be in on the fun. I do strongly suggest to my seniors, but I don't command this, that you do not choose a fourth quarter project. As we start out the year, my seniors, you have never yet been seniors during fourth quarter. I have been a senior during fourth quarter. I know how hard it is to find the motivation to do anything more complicated than zipping my pants and putting my shoes on as a senior in fourth quarter. I don't suggest that as a fourth quarter senior, it's a good time for you to be diving into brand new research project. However you do you, maybe you work best under pressure, or maybe you're going to procrastinate no matter what I say. So I'm not forbidding seniors to do a fourth quarter project, but I do highly recommend that you don't. Research is to be presented as either an interactive symposium. You've taken Classical Studies 1. Most of you, I imagine many of you have also taken humanities. By now you know how the symposia work in my class. So if that is something that appeals to you, you can do both of your projects as interactive symposia. Of course, I would like to see you creatively engage the people in the room when I say interactive. However, as a bare minimum, the interactive requirement will be met simply by your being open to questions from the audience. As an alternative, you may choose to submit your research in the form of an 8 to 10 page paper in MLA format. If you're not familiar with MLA format, fear not. That will be the very first thing we cover before diving into the meat and potatoes of this course. We'll actually cover that on the second day of class. We'll have a workshop in MLA format. During the 2 quarters that you're conducting research projects, you'll be exempt from almost all high school level work that is assigned during those quarters. So that doesn't, by now you're familiar with the high school track versus the Cambridge track, how everybody's doing both of them. So nobody's exempt from the Cambridge projects, which we're about to talk about. But you will be exempt from any high school level work, or almost any high school level work. There will be a few exceptions. I do promise that I mean it when I say a few exceptions. I'm not, it's not going to be like, oh, psych, everything's an exception. You got to do everything, moron. I can't believe you fell for that. No, it should be just a couple exceptions. And to tell you the truth, I shouldn't say this, but I'm gonna anyway. So this is not a vow, but as I'm mentally planning this course out, because it's a brand new course, I'm planning it out a month to 6 weeks ahead of time. My other two courses, I've got the whole first semester planned. I don't anticipate actually giving a ton of work outside of your Cambridge projects. So the being exempt from other work, that's more of a big deal in Classical Studies 1 and Humanities. But in conclusion, whatever. Okay. So just like Classical Studies 1, which was the AS level, where you had two projects, one Greek and one Roman, you will again be conducting two major research projects. Rather than one Greek topic and one Roman project, at the A level, you'll choose one topic from the category of classical history and one topic from the category of Greek literature. So instead of having a Roman topic and a Greek topic, you'll have a historical topic and a literary topic. These topics will culminate in an exam sometime around November of 2023, just like the AS level topics did. You'll be working in groups on these projects, just like we did in the second half of Classical Studies 1. And you'll actually be working in groups right from the get-go. As soon as we start working on these projects, you'll be in groups. And I've also, doesn't benefit you, but I've also made that change to Classical Studies 1. So over on the AS level side, they will begin their Greek and Roman projects as group projects right from the beginning. You will, just as you did with the AS level projects, you will spend a year composing detailed, in-depth study guides for the exam for your two topics. So let's see what the options are. Just like before, you will have options for each category. The options are fewer. In AS level, there were three Greek topics and 3 Roman topics to choose from. At A level, it's only 2 each, but here is what you have to choose from. Your classical history topic, option 1, is Athens and Sparta. This topic focuses on the 5th century BC as seen through the eyes of authors of the period and later. Candidates, that's y'all, will be expected to have a knowledge of the main events of the period, specifically 499 to 404 BC, but details of specific battles will not be required. This topic will develop your historical analysis skills, requiring you to offer critical evaluations of the impact of the historical events in this period on the people of Athens and Sparta and the contribution of people of different status living in these communities. Candidates, you will study a selection of historical, biographical, and other sources on Athens and Sparta with particular reference to the roles of men, women, and non-citizens in Athens and Sparta, political systems, functions of different groups within these systems, and the influence of individuals on events, the reasons for, impacts, and outcomes of the Persian and Peloponnesian Wars, alliances with other states, relationships between the state and outsiders. So that is your first option for the A-level project. The second historical option is emperors and subjects. This topic focuses on the development of the principiate, that is how the Romans referred to the office of the emperor, going back to Augustus, the first emperor. This topic focuses on the development of the principiate during the 1st and early 2nd centuries CE, it's the same as AD, in the broad historical context of unfolding events and issues. This topic involves the study of the emperors and the actions which impacted on the lives of the citizens of Rome and the wider empire. The focus is on the relationship between ruler and subjects and the response of citizens and non-citizens to the rule of the emperors Claudius, Nero, Domitian, and Trajan. This topic will develop your historical analysis skills, requiring you to offer critical evaluation of the relationships between emperors and their subjects, including the interplay between political, social, religious, and economic factors. You will study a selection of historical, biographical, and other sources on the four specified emperors, both in Rome and in the provinces, with particular reference to the power and position of the emperor, the emperor's relationships with the people of Rome, the social structure of Roman society, and the emperor's relationships with the people in the provinces. So each of you will choose one of those two. So your historical topic will either be Athens and Sparta or emperors and subjects. And then you'll also choose one of the two following topics as your literary project. Greek literature topic 1 is Greek tragedy. This topic focuses on Greek tragedy and how the understanding of tragedy developed in Athens in the 5th century BC. You'll be expected to have an outline knowledge of the socio-political context of the plays, their place within the framework of the state-sponsored festivals, and the issues and morals that they reflect. Detailed historical knowledge of Athens in the 5th century BC will not be required. This topic will develop your literary analysis and appreciation skills, requiring you to offer critical analysis and personal response to the plays, including the literary achievements of the playwrights. This will include the religious, cultural, and social values portrayed in the plays and the historical and political context of when they were written and performed. You'll study 4 plays in their entirety. Agamemnon by Aeschylus, which we all watched together in Classical Studies 1. Antigone by Sophocles, and 2 plays from Euripides, Medea, and Electra. So that's option 1 for your literary topic, Greek tragedy. Option 2 for your literary topic, Homeric Epic. I have no idea why Cambridge University put Homer in Classical Studies 2 and Virgil in Classical Studies 1. It's insane and absurd and obscene and any other bad 2-syllable thing you can think of. But here's the good news. Those of you who choose Homeric Epic will be choosing a topic that we've already built quite a foundation in. And you'll be able to, instead of starting from scratch, you'll be able to build on the solid foundation that we worked together on last year. So, Homeric Epic. The epic poems of Homer were considered by the Greeks to be a foundation of Greek culture, being the earliest surviving Greek literature. This topic, I should have said this 3 slides ago, but these descriptions are pulled right from the Cambridge syllabus. This topic provides students with the opportunity to, provides students with the opportunity to study both of the epic poems of Homer. Candidates will be expected to have an understanding of the historical and mythological background of the poems. Detailed historical knowledge will not be expected. Candidates should be aware of the oral nature of composition and the transmission of the poems which were later written down in their current form. As such, the poems reflect not just the time in which they were composed, but also contain traces of earlier societies and culture. This topic will develop your literary analysis and appreciation skills, requiring you to offer critical analysis and personal response to the literary achievements of Homer and the religious, cultural, and social values portrayed in the poems. Candidates study a selection of books from the Iliad and the Odyssey. So those are the A-level topics. You will choose two, one historical, either Athens and Sparta or Emperors and Subjects, and one literary, either Greek tragedy or Homeric Epic. If you'd like to get started on those, the not secondary sources, I haven't put those together yet, but all your required primary sources are going to be available on Schoology as soon as the school year starts, or within a day or two. Certainly be giving some thought to which topics you'd like to pursue. And by all means, if you want to get started on them, get started on them. However, as a class, this is about the last we're going to say about the A-level projects until the end of October. We will not, as a class, shift our focus to the A-level projects until you've completed the AS level exams, which are scheduled for October 25th and October 27th, if you're watching this video in the year 2022. If I'm reusing this video because I'm lazy in future years, you'll want to double check the dates of your exams. Until the exams, once we have, after starting with the third day of class, all of our emphasis is going to be on preparing for the AS level exams. Those are last year's topics, your Greek and Roman topics from last year. Taking those exams is mandatory for all classical studies 2 students, except for in the following cases: a death in the family, hospitalization, illness or injury with a doctor's note, failure of the Four Corners bus to arrive, cancellation or postponement of the exam by Four Corners or Cambridge administration, or outbreak of nuclear war in Osceola and or Polk counties. And now listen to me carefully. If there's nuclear war in Orange County, I don't want to hear your whining, I don't want to hear your excuses. You get here and you take the Cambridge exam. So that is, taking the exam is required for all classical studies 2 students. I thought long and hard about how I wanted to enforce that, and I talked myself out of what I really wanted to do, which would be if you skip the exam, you fail the class no matter what. I'm not going to be quite that strict. So what will happen is that taking the exam, when you take the exam, you will get a high school level score of 30 out of 30. It doesn't matter what you score on the exam. I will award you 30 points once you've taken the exam. Failure to take the exam, if you don't show up on exam day, except for the reasons I mentioned above, or a minute ago, you will receive a score of 0 out of 30 that cannot be made up. So don't mess around with this. I'm not messing around with this. Got to show up and take the exam. The Cambridge exam, by now you've heard me say this a dozen times, the Cambridge exams are zero risk, high benefit. They're not going to impact your grade. Certainly, they're not going to impact your classical studies 1 grade, because that's done. Those report cards, that have gone out. They're hanging on your fridge at home, or you've already served your grounding for those report cards or whatever. And I'm not taking your score and factoring into your classical studies 2 grade. So you got nothing to lose by taking that exam. And those exams are how you earn that college credit that we open with. So all of our class time until the exams, starting with the third day of class, will be devoted to preparing for those exams. Beginning on class day 3, all students will be put into groups based on your AS level Greek and Roman topics. So these are last year's topics. We're going to be focused on last year's topics until the exam, and we'll create new groups on the third day of class based on those topics. Starting in mid-September, I'll give you the exact dates a little later. Starting mid-September, each group is going to teach your topic to the class for 1 week. I find that I learn by teaching. As a teacher, teaching has given me the opportunity to really dive much more deeply into some fascinating topics than I ever have before, and I want you to share that experience with me. So to prepare, what you're going to do to prepare for the exam is you're going to teach your topic to the class. I will give you more details on exactly what that looks like on class day 3 when we create these groups and begin working on this. That 1 week period, that will be adapted for groups that, as I don't know how it's going to be. In some of our like vase painting and architecture just didn't have, and Alexander had 600 people and did Alexander's out of class of 30. 600 of those 30 were doing Alexander. Vase painting and architecture didn't have that many people. So if the groups are significantly smaller or even solo acts, we'll adapt that length of time, that 1 week length of time. But that is the target. You'll be teaching the class for a week. Last thing I want to go over with you, we're just going to cruise through this, as this being a college level course, and all of you have spent at least a year with me. Some of you, this will be our third year working together. By now you know the score. We know each other well. We know how we work. But a vague disclaimer is nobody's friend. So I want to briefly remind you of the document that governs our conduct in this class, and that is our class covenant. This is an evolving document. However, it hasn't evolved much in the last couple years. My humanities students 3 years ago had a lot of say in developing this document. I've given every other class since then the opportunity to suggest edits, and nobody has. But know that you are welcome. If you see something you would like to include or should be changed, we can discuss it. But as we begin, here is the class covenant for my course. This class is a community of human and academic formation built on dignity and respect. Therefore, we do not physically harm, threaten, bully, or humiliate one another. We do not use vulgar or insulting language regarding race, gender or sexuality, religion, intelligence, economic status, or body type. We listen to one another. We welcome and celebrate diverse perspectives, even when we disagree. We disagree with others without attacking them. We allow ourselves to be disagreed with without imagining that we are being attacked. We do not use our phones during class discussions. We do not put our heads down during class discussions. We value our time together by attending class regularly and on time. We do not insult the hard work of our teacher and fellow students by wandering the halls or skipping class. We come to class prepared. We take the risk of participating in class discussions. We do not behave disruptively, since that robs our classmates of the opportunity to learn, which we have no right to dare to do. I must have been in a mood when I wrote that. How dare you? How dare you act like you're 14, you 14-year-olds. We do not cheat or plagiarize. Y'all know that's the one thing I'm actually strict on. You remember that. When it comes to plagiarism, I do take that incredibly seriously. I have never given a break on plagiarism. You will not be the first. Some of my very favorite people who we continue to enjoy working with one another, but have been given zeros and academic referrals for plagiarism. Don't that's my F around to find out one. Just don't do it. And we embrace accepting consequences whenever necessary and offer forgiveness whenever possible. Okay, so that is our welcome introduction to Classical Studies Year 2. I'm super excited to be with you this year. I hope we have a great year together. And the end.
This place stinks of corruption.